Talking Boomer Sooner with Jason Ray of Last Word on College Football. We encourage you to join him and the rest of the staff there on their coverage of college football. You've locked in to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please join me for 2 exclusive live streams each and every week on Patreon at the Voice of College Football community. So just search Mark Rogers TV on Patreon. 2 exclusive live streams. One, where I respond to your viewer comments. We've received over 36,000 this year. That's up from 6,000 at the same point last year. So thank you. And also, yes, our other live stream involves you, where we bring you on to discuss college football with me. All right, we're talking Oklahoma, and we're running down the positions and a loaded offensive personnel grouping on down the line as we talk quarterbacks, running backs, and yes, wide receiver. So let's stop at the running back position, where Rodney Anderson obviously had a huge year 2 years ago, some injury problems last year. Kennedy Brooks and Trey Sermon more than capable of stepping in, and voila, they're both back.
Yeah, I think that, you mentioned Rodney Anderson. He was significant for a couple of years ago, especially the Sooners. I think he ran for over 200 yards against Georgia in the Rose Bowl a couple of years ago. But he went out with an ACL injury in that UCLA game. I believe it was the first or second quarter of the UCLA game last year. So he was only available for around a game and a half. And then Sermon and Kennedy Brooks kind of picked up the slack. Kennedy Brooks was a little I think he's around 1,100 yards, where Sermon was around 900. I think those two work very well together. Sermon is more of the power back, whereas Kennedy Brooks is really more kind of the scat back, the long run. And I think the way that Lincoln Riley had played it last year, I think he'll probably play it pretty similarly this year. In terms of letting Sermon is really more effective in certainly short yardage situations, but really more effective in the fourth quarter. When that offensive line has been beating up on the defensive line throughout the game, and he can, Sermon uses his strength and his power a little bit. So certainly you would look to those two to being kind of the 1 and 2 punch for the Sooners ground game. Another individual to kind of look out for is TJ Pledger, who played sparingly last year as a freshman. He looked really good in the spring game. I would look for him to be the third guy. Don't know, from a third guy perspective, does that mean how many carries he'll get? Is it 50 to 75 carries through the year, or will it end up being more of kind of a 33% split between the three? I think he'll get a little bit more carries than he got last year. I think they'll probably still rely on Sermon and Kennedy Brooks to carry the load for the most part, and then they have a couple of freshmen, one freshman and one junior college transfer that I think probably would redshirt this year, Mark. I mean, unless there's any kind of injuries, they might be forced into action. Marcus Major, who's kind of a hometown Oklahoma kid out of Millwood High School, and then Monday Moore, who is a junior college transfer. He'll be a sophomore this year. So I would expect those two that probably would redshirt this year and take a year to learn, and kind of waiting in the wings.